What a beautiful day in Pedscott Rhythmland, and welcome back to another episode of Pedantic Craft. And as you can see, I've built a path connecting my farmhouse with the new granary we built last episode, and you don't even want to know what it took to build this. Jeez, it was quite the ordeal, and looks like someone died in front of my granary. That's a shame. But as I said last episode, this is great that we have this storage facility for all of our 60 wheat, but we need a place to actually grind it and turn it into flour. And that's what we'll be doing today. So let me go show you what I have been working on. So here's what we're here to see. So right over there is the farmhouse, and it's right over this river. And it's just a little pond right here, and it flows down this hill, just like so. Oh, look at Bartholomew. It flows down this hill, just like so, and it meets up with this big river right here. And now this river, this stream, is what we're going to build our mill on. Get out of here, grass. We're going to build it across this stream. And we're not building just a stereotypical, when you think of a mill, you think of one with a big round water wheel right on the side. We're actually going to do something a little bit different and hopefully learn y'all a thing or two about mills. Okay, so I've blocked up the water over here, and I've drained all the water from this part, and we're going to start building the mill. So, like I was saying, usually you would imagine a mill be running, next to a river. Or I mean, the river's running next to the mill. So that the water wheel can be up in here and get turned by the water. And now, yes, with water wheels, that is correct. That is how they work. But we're not building a water wheel per se. Well, it is a water wheel, but it's not the conventional kind. Now, the type of mill that we're going to be building today is called a horizontal mill. So a horizontal mill works different from a vertical mill, which is the kind that you will all know, in that the water runs under the building and the wheel is, well, more horizontal. It radiates this way. I don't know how to explain it. If you're blind, I'm sorry because I can't explain it in words. But it basically is a circle that's on the ground right here. And hold on, wait, did I do this? Oh, and I already screwed it up, didn't I? I'm gonna make this 5 blocks wide. 1, 2, 3. Well, 3 on the inside. So I gotta move this. Riveting. But the reason I'm making this mill a horizontal mill instead of a vertical mill is because for a long time this was the most popular type of mill, and vertical mills actually came later. So we know that there were a lot of mills in England and surely the rest of Europe, but especially England. We know there are a lot of mills because of the Doomsday Book. Now, in the 1080s, when the Doomsday Book was finished, there was roughly 6,000 mills up and down the country. And the Doomsday Book doesn't even cover the entirety of England, so there were surely more than just 6,000, but at least 6,000 mills. Of those, probably half or so were vertical mills like this. And I'm actually going to put in just a little bit of a support right here, I think, that goes down a couple blocks. So horizontal mills were just very popular just because that's kind of how it was. They aren't better than vertical mills. A benefit of them is that it's less complicated. With a vertical mill, you have to use gears and axles and all that to actually transfer the power. But with a vertical mill, it just goes straight up into the grindstone for the mill. So it's simpler in that way, but it's not as strong. It's just that this was invented after animal mills were the most popular. For a long time, just you would tie a couple donkeys to a mill and make them walk in a circle, and that's what would grind your grain. Um, but this is just that's a lot. This is a lot better than that method, but vertical mills are definitely better. They can exert more power and mill quicker and that sort of thing. And for this building, I want it to be sort of domestic as well as obviously a mill, but it's going to be hard to fit all of that in to this building. So I might make it bigger, maybe just on one of these sides, because I want it to cross over the river and act as sort of a bridge. But I'm just going to start building up the sides here. So we're going to have, and then on top, like this. And I think the roof, if you remember back to last episode, we were talking about roofs towards the end of it. I'm going to make this another half-hip roof. So it'll come, the roof line will come out here, and then boom. Oh, can't forget the side here. And why not? Let's put another support right here. So this already looks pretty cute in my opinion. But let's figure out what's going to happen down below. Well, actually, let's put in the floor first, just because I feel like that'll be a good starting point, just so we know where not to build. So I put in the floor. This is right where the mill, the actual, you know, thing is going to come down. And how I'm going to build this is actually with something I don't have right now. One second. Okay, so what I've got here is some mud brick, and since this just sort of looks like a brown wall block, it'll do just fine. So this is the hole of the mill. I'll put the technical term on screen. I can't remember it right now. And then we just have to emulate blades, the fan blades of the mill down here. And I think a good way to do that might be with fence gates, and do that. You see that kind of looks like that kind of looks good. So hold on, let's make some more of these. And we're off to the races. So here's our mill. So the water comes past this, and turns it, and then that turning will come up here. Yeah, I think I am going to actually expand this so that it's a little bit wider, because you see this is just not enough room in here. So we're actually gonna tear it all down. I know. Give me 1 second. Okay, I've widened the building, and it's definitely a lot better. So now it's 7 by 9, I believe. But here's where the magic happens. So, oh, also down here, I do need to make this somehow attached to the bottom, because it's not just floating here, you know. It's got to be like, if we make this a full block, then we can put stupid fence. It is in the way. Um, ah, ah. There we go. Yeah, to fix this, jeez. And then if we, you know what? We know it's down there. This little thing that's meant to spin that in place. So that's all that matters. But so we have that down there, but now it's time to actually build the stone. So let's do it like this. We'll use some of these andesite slabs I have to make the actual stone part of it, the millstone, and then we'll take these and we'll make. Does that look good? Or does that look stupid? Well, I already made these stairs, so what we could do, what if we alternate it? Like, or why alternate it if we can just have it like this? So this is the, yeah, so this can be our millstone. I might try and go mine some more andesite just to have it. Wait, what the heck am I doing? Sorry folks, I just realized a grave mistake. This is one of there are two millstones. So there's one on the bottom and there's one on the top. And the one that spins is the one on the top. So I boarded that up too soon. It should actually be more like this, where the pole is going through the bottom millstone. It has a hole in it, and then this one on top is actually what's spinning. I don't know if that really looks good though. It's so hard to make little circles in Minecraft, you know? If we make it like this though, it's way too square and sharp edge. But maybe we lean into that just because, you know, it's Minecraft. And now the top of this ideally would have a hole in it, because that's where the hopper attaches to the top of the millstone. And that feeds it through here, and then that grounds the grains into flour. I think what we need to do is have a floor up above this that comes like, well, it can't be right there because that's not nearly enough space. Should we raise this? We could raise this up one more, actually. Why not? We need the room. So I've lengthened the height of this building, and it still looks pretty normal. So we're gonna try and put in a second story, and we want it to be like right here. So it might be it'll be sort of a low roof down here, and a low roof up here too. So let's use, I don't have much spruce wood left, so I'm probably gonna have to go get some more. So I have this, a bit of a backward staircase here, just because I can get up. Oh wait, hold on, is this gonna be an issue? Yes, it will. I'm gonna have to push this back by one. But it doesn't really need to be backwards, does it? Short and stuff. Okay, so this is what I have done on the top floor so far. So we have a little, like, bin in order to, this is where you put the flour in. This is the hopper. So you put the flour in here, and while that wheel is turning, it goes down. Again, there should be a hole right there, But it basically goes down in between the two, goes down in between the two millstones. There are grooves in there, and it pushes the grain uh, outwards. So that's what I have on this building so far. But next, I need to do the walls, and for that, we're gonna do something a little bit different than the other buildings. We're actually going to make some wattle and daub walling, uh, which is sort of the stereotypical medieval walling. Actually, look at this. If I put the door right here, you're gonna come out right up the stairs. It's gonna be annoying. But if I put it right here, like you come out underneath the stairs. Now, isn't that a great idea? But okay, I'm gonna get to work on that. Okay, so what we're gonna do for these walls, so I said I don't want to just make them wood walls like the other buildings I've built, and I want to try something a little bit different, and that's going to be wattle and daub, and specifically whitewashed wattle and daub. And don't come at me for not being woke, but these will be whitewashed walls. Now wattle and daub, you're probably familiar. If you've seen Tudor houses, Tudor framed, wood framed houses and buildings, that's pretty much what wattle and daub is. It's in between the supports, the framing of the house or building, there is wattle, which is like basically braided or knit like wood. And the materials they would use for that would mostly be, things like willow rods and sort of flexible twigs. That's also why, if you ever see trees that look kind of weird, I'll put up a picture so you know what I'm talking about. Those are pollarding, and that has been used for a long time in order to get long, thin twigs. It can be used for things like wattle as well as other things. Wattle and daub, you get your wattle and you put it on your wall, and then the daub is a conglomerate of like essentially mud, and that you pack it in and let it dry, and that becomes wattle and daub. But it was very popular to whitewash it, which is just a cheap way to make it look nicer. Just getting like a white paint and going over it. And so that's what we're going to do with this building, because this is kind of this is an important building that sustains life. So, and the way I like to achieve this look is by using these two blocks. From a distance, that just looks like the white near the bottom, the whitewashing is just getting sort of cracked and dirty. And you can make this smoother, but this works for me. Or you could make it all wool, but I'm gonna keep it like, you could even do something fancy like that. This continuous patterning. So I'm just gonna fill in these walls. And this one actually, this wall's a little bit different because it's going to be the doorway. Then this could be. Hold on, everybody. Where's my crafting table? Did I leave it down here? Yes. I was just working on this, just making this look a little nicer. So you can see that the stream of water comes down only on one side. So it's going to be spinning it clockwise. Okay, let's fill in the rest of these walls. I need to furnish this a little because well, first of all, it's quite dark. And it could definitely use some light. Okay, that was quite a deadly night that I just had. I was out hunting spiders. I needed string to make my candles, and geez, I probably won't include any of that because I was not faring too well against all the creatures. Hold on, let me see if I have. No, okay, all the arrows are gone, but there were a couple skeletons outside my door, and that's all I'll say. But I got the candles, I got some doors, Some chests and barrels. So let's decorate in here just a little and make it a little more livable, I guess. We'll put some candles right there. That lights it up pretty nice. And then up here, it's very dark. But that lights it up nicely too. And now most of the storage is going to be up here. So we'll put like a chest right there. Barrels here. A double chest right there. Barrel. Chest, barrel. And we need to, of course, thatch the roof, which I think I'm going to have to harvest some fields in order to have enough hay to do that. And you know what? We can give Bartholomew a little bit of a torch situation because it is kind of dark in here. Let me... Okay. Okay, Bartholomew. Here, we're going to put it right in the middle right here. Bang. And then how many do you want? Tell me when. 1, 2, 3. Is that good? I think so. Oh, there you go. Don't burn yourself, okay? Be careful. And don't blow them out. Crazy guy. Alright, after about 15 minutes of farming, here is the result. How many? This is 20 stacks and 48 wheat. So I'm just gonna take, how about this? We'll take a stack and a half of hay blocks. That should be enough to make the roof of that building there. And I really like the whitewashed look because you can see it from a lot farther and it just stands out like that. I mean, it doesn't look bad from this distance, but it just, you know, you can't see it the same as you can see that building over there. It just pops a little bit more. Okay, so I sort of have this sketched out in my mind. And I think what I want is some supports on these, and then we can connect them with trapdoors, and we can add these just to make it more of a gradual slope. And I could also put some like this. So then that's a real nice little slope right there. Well, let's just put the thatch on there anyway. So as I said, this is also going to be a half-hip roof in the same way that my granary is. Like this, and then we're going to bring it all up. Might not be exactly enough. No, it shouldn't be. But I just need to get some more fence gates. Here, I guess I can put one in. Boom. Now, this top part up here, I think I might just end it sort of like how I did with the granary. You probably can't see it. Oh! Look at those guys. So just a little bit of a fancy thing on the roof, like that, you know? Because you can't, it's kind of, if I just put thatch on top, it doesn't really make sense. Like, what is supporting that, you know? So just putting a little roof ridge on the top kind of helps with that. Let's get out of here before those guys cause a little bit of trouble. Oh. And as we're riding away into the night, we can take a look at what we've done here. Oh, it looks like they're dispersing, but still. Here, do you want one of these? No. Hey, that looks... I mean, that looks pretty good to me. Yeah, let's see the other side. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like the white. Yeah. So I'm just doing some of the finishing details, and something I want to add to this water stream um, is a border of stone, because in some of the earliest examples of horizontal mills that we have, specifically in Ireland, um, the streams would be lined with stone just to direct the water more easily, leading up to the pen trough or the flute of the mill. But before I do that, I'm going to sleep. On top of adding that stone lining, I also uh, changed up the interior a little. Um, so I feel like this would be a more accurate depiction of what a millstone would look like in a horizontal uh, water mill. There wouldn't necessarily be a hopper, and all the there's been a couple survivals of horizontal water mills, notably at Ebbsfleet in England, which was built in the 8th century and it was excavated in the 70s. Um, and it was very fragmentary evidence. There was some evidence of the flutes as well as the paddles of the mill. But in a reconstruction, I found there is no hopper. It's just a stone. So you just put the flour in this hole, and then it would come out around here. I also changed up the upstairs a little, confining most of the storage in here, and then adding this sort of more domestic space. And now this house, someone could live here, but it's not a very nice living space. Yeah, I still need to finish up this side. I did put some nice stone trim more around on this side. And then I think we'll finish the building off with a path leading out of the door. So I finished up putting a nice little stone wall around the water. And I also built this nice little path that runs down to the river. And I think we'll leave it for next episode, but obviously we're on two different sides of a river here, so there needs to be a bridge, and I think this will be a nice spot for it over here. My only concern is that on the other side over there, there's some really ugly generation that I'm gonna have to deal with. It's a bunch of pools of water. Yeah, look at this. At one point I'm gonna have to cover this up, because this is just ugly and stupid and it wraps all the way around here. But that'll just give us even more land. I think all around here I want more wheat fields. Um, but now look at this lovely little mill that we built today. And I have something special. I have quite a lot of wheat that I've harvested, and we're going to we'll test out the mill. We'll see how it works. So let's run over here. So here we are at the mill, and if I just take my wheat and can this might be a little tricky. Okay, here we go. Let's just yeah. Oh, yeah. Just throw it all in there, and then oh, just let that all grind up. Hold on, hold on. Oh, I think my machinery is a little faulty because some of the it fell through, but you know that's okay. These things can never be perfect. Horizontal water mills uh, aren't as good at producing as vertical, so it's okay. But look at that! I've produced all this bread from my new water mill. So let's just pop this into storage a little bit, and I'll count this as a success. So this is a nice little building, and just, you know, these videos are gonna never add too much at one time. You know, I'm not going to come back with another video and it's gonna be a whole city. You know, it's iterative and it builds on top of itself. So, you know, I just started with one little building, but then third episode, now we got, you know, our house, the church, we got our granary, and now we got a mill. And then next episode, we'll probably have a bridge and maybe some other things. Not too sure what, but it just builds on itself. And so, Rome wasn't built in a day, and Ted's Got Rhythmland definitely wasn't either. It's still not built after, well, it's been a couple months now since I started this world, but it probably won't be built for a long time. Um, but that's about all. So, how do I never, gosh. No, God. Hold on. But that's about all for this episode, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope you liked our mill that we built today, and learned a thing or two. And remember the difference between horizontal and vertical water mills, okay? It might come in handy if you're ever, tasked with building a water mill. You're going to want to know the difference. So, goodbye, thank you for watching Pedantic Craft, and I'll see you soon with the next episode. Bye!